Hello, everybody. Uh, Today, we are going to have a 1 hour session about sports as a tool in experiential learning and how to combine experiential learning and sport together, how we can use sport for learning process. So it's very clear that a game, a volleyball game or a basketball game is not only a sport activity. I mean, the team, the individuals while doing the sport can learn a lot of things beside the sportive techniques, like teamwork, like solidarity, like dealing with stress, dealing with conflicts, etc. And today, with my distinguished guest speakers, we are going to talk about sport in learning process. So we have three very experienced people in sport fields. We have Mr. Geisler from Germany, who is former vice president of German Basketball Federation. We have Mr. Giovanni Guidetti, who is the head coach of Women Volleyball National Team of Turkey and also Vakıfbank Women Volleyball Team. We have Mr. Emir Turam, who is the member of Turkish National Olympic Committee, also lecturer in Bilgi University. So this is how I introduce you, but I'm sure you have much more. Could you please, very shortly, briefly introduce yourself? We can start with Mr. Geisler.
Yeah, thank you, Volkan, for having me in this panel. Yeah, you said the most important thing. I was working for German Basketball Federation for almost 20 years, and before for the State Federation in Bavaria. I worked as a referee on all levels from bottom up to top in Germany. And so refereeing is somehow the focus of my work. But I also worked with coaches and relatively early in my career, also with players as a coach. Yes, I think that's the most important thing.
Let's continue with Mr. Guidetti.
Hi, everybody. And my name is Giovanni Guidetti, and I am volleyball coach. I was basically always a volleyball coach. So as soon as I finished my school, and I couldn't even finish the university, that I was already coaching in the second division in Italy. So when I was 23 years old, I was coaching in second division in Italy. When I was 25, I took my first job as a head coach in the top Italian volleyball women division. That was kind of record for the age, because I was 25, and actually in the time I was really, because we are talking about that, much more a learner than a teacher, because I have players that were 30, 32, 35 years old, and that was really my first experience. And then basically I coach all my life.
And Mr. Turam.
Thank you, Volkan, and also thank you for the opportunity to be here among these distinguished speakers. I think it's a great session. Like you said, I was a basketball player. I played for almost 20 years professionally in various clubs in Turkey, also the national team. And then when I got done playing, I kind of stepped into the administration of sports. I started working at the Turkish Basketball Federation as the director of international affairs. And that was another 23 years until I retired.
I would love to start my questions first, Mr. Guidetti. And Mr. Guidetti, you are a coach who worked with a lot of various age groups in your volleyball career. Can you please define us a little bit about the learning process of an athlete? And how do you think we can use this model? How do you think this model, this learning process of the athletes can inspire us about the fundamentals of experiential learning?
Then, when you talk about experiential learning and learning process, first of all, I have to tell you that every day I feel like a student, so doing my job, so dealing with victory or loses, good training, bad training, player happy, player unhappy, team and staff that sometimes are doing great together, sometimes are facing problems. And this one is not a job that you learn and then you do. No, this is a continuously a working in process. You know, I still consider myself a very young and not good coach in many aspects, you know, because I'm really trying and push myself to always learn from my experience, from my mistake, or from my things good, where I can be better, you know. Also because if I wanted my player become better, I need to show them that I am the first one, that I want to improve and to become better.
Well, let me first have a look to the past, the old sports tradition, which was, well, something like a master-slave relation between trainers and players, between supervisors and referees, etc. So the trainers and coaches advised the players how and what to play. And trainers and coaches had to learn methods, tactics, moves, and theory, and then were expected to be able to train and coach successfully. Also the referees, they have to learn the rule book and the moves on the playing field, and they were controlled by the federation if they decided according to the rules, and if not, they were relegated or somehow punished or whatever. This approach has definitely proved to fail. Players, coaches, and referees are individuals, and they need a strong personality. Especially team sports have complex situations and afford quick reactions in very short period. So we have more to concentrate more on that, on this ability to become strong personalities. And so we have to use different ways, like involve them to practice participation.
Actually, I want to add one more thing. Do you think that they could combine, or they could help each other, your education in sport and your sport career in your education career?
Well, it certainly did, because there was a conjunction point where in the last 3 years of my professional playing career, I was also teaching at Boğaziçi University. And it was an interesting experience. It wasn't only creating so much time pressure, because it was hard to combine both of them within the same day, but in a position of teaching, standing in front of a group of students and trying to convey the message, and more importantly, trying to create ways for them to take that message and keep it, learn it. You know, learning is actually keep it into the future. It really helped me on the court as well, because it helped me develop better communication capacities, which led to maybe better problem solving in any field, on the court, around the court, discussions with coaches. You know, players respect coaches very much, but sometimes they are not in the same opinion, you know, and like Coach Guidetti will very well probably support. And communication is the key to coming together. And the education career and the sports career, to answer your question, they really enhanced my life. They created two different dimensions in two different directions.
So, Mr. Guidetti, I want to ask you this. When you are making a training with your team, I'm sure after the training, which is a great experience for your team members, of your athletes, surely you are having a reflection altogether. So about their emotions, as you actually previously mentioned, and about their experience, what they did specifically, what did they right, what did they wrong, but there's a reflection, or there's a talking part with your team. I want to learn, what is your approach as a volleyball coach to reflect the experiences of your team? to reach the success?
So generally, before every match, we have a clear plan, for every part of the game. Many times, also the previous day of the match, we starting with just a reflection of the strength and the weakness team, the weakness point of the opponent team. And then after this general view, we go to see on the video, more specific where this team is good, where we can push more this team because they have a little bit of weaknesses. And at the end of the match, the next day or in the day, there is this common evaluation.
Mr. Geisler, I want to go back to your experience with this referees training, because it sounds to me very interesting. So you made trainings with referees based on experiential learning. So I want to ask you, what was the main difference? I mean, how was your observation? Because there's a classic way of trainings with the referees, and within this Erasmus project, thank to Erasmus supporting such a project, you made these time trainings based on experiential learning. What was the main difference? So how did you, what kind of differences you observed, positively and negatively, if there is, please?
Well, the positive experience is definitely that the motivation and the interest of the participants is much higher when you follow these the method of experiential learning.
Since we started with the project, so I want to turn to Mr. Turam. We know that you have a lot of experiences in social projects, although you were in the top level management of basketball. Beside a lot of works, you did some social works within these international projects. So I want to ask you, due to your experiences in international, I might say education-based, learning-based projects, how do you see the role of sport in the learning process of the individuals, of the kids, of the non-professional people who are doing sport?
I think it's very crucial, because when we're talking about international projects, we have a team of people coming from different countries, from different traditions, belonging to different cultures. Their views of life are mostly different. Their priorities are different. And their understandings of solutions even can be different. And how are they going to come together? Now, in such quite difficult situations, I have seen many times how sports almost magically creates a bridge between all of these differences. Michael was talking about this referee education project we did. That's a good example.
But we know very well that also that I'm lucky to live in Istanbul, that is a very, very modern city. But we know that Turkey, like any country in the world, I believe the reality is not the same in every part of the country. So there are some parts of the country where women, they don't have the same access to sport like the men. There are parts of the country where the women are not even meant to participate to a sport, to a team, to be part of a team. And so our project started with this idea, the idea to really bring, a dream to everybody, to bring a new reality to everybody, so provide equal opportunity to the girls that are in a socio-economically disadvantaged region of the country. That was the idea, and I'm really, really happy. And like always in this kind of project, I have to tell you that is much, much more what I took than what I gave.